And we're live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Craig. This is where myself, Craig Hamilton Parker, chats about the world around us from the standpoint of a psychic medium, because that's what I do. And I'm also very interested in India and the Naadi oracles, and we're going to be looking at some of that today as well. So my role as a psychic is to help you see the future a little bit clearer, hopefully through a mirror darkly, I say sometimes, because I don't get it all right, but I get some. And also to look at the Naadi predictions. And today we're going to talk about Donald Trump a bit more, because there's a few questions come in about that, and also about what's going on in Israel and Lebanon. And we'll talk about that a bit and any other topics that might arise from your questions. So welcome to Coffee with Craig. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome again to the show. I think it's quite an interesting one today because I want to talk a little bit about some of the questions that have been put to me, mainly through the patrons here on the site and also the YouTube members, as it were. They've posted me some questions to get us started. I'm going to use those first and have a chat about some of the issues it raises, and then we'll have a short little advert, and then I'll come to also you guys coming in live that I can see now on the side of the screen, who are going to ask me some other questions about these things as well. So yeah, quite an interesting sort of show ahead, I think, for us today. I've got a few other sort of bits lined up. I'm also going to talk a bit about, I'm just putting a few images up that I suddenly realized aren't being put up yet. Ready? I'm also going to talk about Donald Trump's Naadi. Now, those of you who have come to this, sorry, I'm distracted a little bit here because I was just a couple of images were missing, so I've just uploaded them. Just do it all yourself on this show. One-man band. Yeah, so Donald Trump. Now, some of the patrons have been asking questions again about, you know, I said I was going to talk about Israel and what's happening in Israel. So I'm going to do that as well today. But of course, some other questions came up and I was quite interested, particularly because one of the patrons asked about, let me find the little link here. Where's it gone? Yeah, down the bottom here somewhere. One of the people started asking about the fact that some of the Indian people are doing mantras, right, about Donald Trump. So the question was, are the Indians performing the correct mantra correctly according to the Naadi? Now, those of you that come to the channel will know that I'm very interested in the Naadi and about these rituals that should be done that were in Trump's Naadi. I'll just show you briefly what they're doing in India at the moment. So this is what's happening. I found it on Twitter. Here we are. I'm just going to show you the little clip first. Here we go. I can hear my voiceover over this as well. I think this
Namo Namah. Long live Donald Trump. Long live Donald Trump. Long live Donald Trump. Next President America. Donald Trump.
Oh, there we go. Let's remove. I don't know if you can hear my me talking when that's on at the same time, or just one dominates actually. But there we go. That was just going on in it. Sorry, I had to laugh because the long live Donald Trump and everything coming up there from them, and it's quite amazing that there's a huge following and interest in Donald Trump in parts of India, and they seem to see him as a very special person. And it brings me to the topic actually, because if you've read my book Be Happy, I'll show you a copy of it. There it is, this one here. Go and buy it, guys. If you saw if you read that book, you see that I've quoted some of Donald Trump's Naadi in there. Now, let's explain it, because not everybody coming here would know what the Naadi's all about, because I've spoken about it over the years here, and you might be here for the first time. So don't forget, follow the channel, and those guys that are here regularly, always give me a thumbs up, please, because it helps the algorithm, the dreaded algorithm. But we need those thumbs up to make it all go up the charts, as it were. Yes, I'm coming off, aren't I? But if you read my book, you would have seen that I managed to get hold some years ago now. I don't know the exact date it was, but I got hold of Donald Trump's, what we call his Naadi. Now, the Naadis were written thousands of years ago, and they have the future of everybody that will ever consult it. And they were written in advance. Some of the leaves of the Naadi have been carbon dated at least 500 years old, I'm told, and they're rewritten over the centuries. And the Indian traditions say that these ancient prophecies that are there for every individual that goes to consult it are there going right the way back thousands of years, and were written way in advance. And I had mine done. If you read my other books, like saw my video Mystic Journey to India, which is now on the Patreon pages if you want to go and look at it. I was absolutely mind blown by what I saw there. It told me of my name. It told me my ex-wife's name. It told me my wife's name. It told me the names of all the members of my family, and loads of real details about my life that nobody could have known, because I was doing it at that time, at the early days of the internet, when you couldn't check people out for starters. And also I hid my name and everything like that, and did it through proxy servers, and so they could find nothing out about me. And it was mind-boggling. Well, I got very, very interested in this over the years. Written books about it, do seminars about it, webinars about it, and all the rest of it. And eventually we found Donald Trump's Naadi. Now, when you consult the Naadi, what they ask for is your thumbprint. And from the thumbprint, you can find the leaf bundle. And from the leaf bundle, then you read each of the leaves one at a time until they find the one with your name actually written on it. And it's written in ancient Tamil, which is a different type of writing, in that it's written like a shorthand version of modern day Tamil. It's not written, the words are written more like by sound. But anyway, without going too much detail on that, we eventually found Donald Trump's. Now, his was found in what's called the Bhrigu Samhita, right? So that first question that one of the patrons there put up, in particular that one was, that first question was asking, because I'd spoken about this, wanted to know, are they doing the right mantras? So I thought I'd share that with you, what some of the little bits that the Naadi said, because if we talk about the Bhrigu Samhita, which is different, this is like a I'll put the quote up. The Bhrigu Samhita is like a version of the Naadi. It's very close to it. It's in the Naadi system, and the Bhrigu Samhita is written again. It's written in astrological terms. This one. Sorry, lost my mic for a minute there. It's written in astrological terms, the Bhrigu Samhita. It's an ancient astrological text. It's attributed to the sage Bhrigu. He's one of the 7 sages, the Sapta Rishis of the Hindu tradition. And it's a collection of horoscopes and predictions that's believed to date back thousands of years. And the legends say, actually, that Bhrigu wrote down the life chart of all the individuals who would be born in the future ages. and it's written in astrological terms. So this one gave us Trump's astrological chart ahead of it. Now, if you look at it, he's advised to do a puja to Lord Shiva every day, and on every Maha Shivarati once a year, do the Rudra Abhishekam and also the Kalasarpa Puja. And then it says, otherwise there is a risk that he may fall from the highest office to the lowest status, completely humiliated. So right away, we've got quite an interesting prediction there made about Trump. He would fall from the highest office. Now, there was some other strange stuff written in this Naadi, because it seemed to suggest that it said he wouldn't do these rituals. Now, he's not going to do a Shiva ritual, is he? But here we have people in India doing these rituals to protect him. In this particular one that you saw that clip for, those were doing to stop him being assassinated. The Naadi, because I asked it, because you could ask it questions. So it was asked via my friend, right? And sadly, my friend's now died recently. This isn't Dr. Q who does the Nadis for me on the website in the description and all that. You can contact me to get your own Nadi done. But no, he's still there. But this was my friend it was a really close friend who found it for me. But we were able to ask some questions, and we got one of the questions we asked: would he have an assassination attempt on him? And it said yes, but it said he would not die from an assassination attempt, which now we look back and it's shocking. He didn't die, and it looks like there could possibly be other assassination attempts. It wasn't mentioned in the Naadi, but I picked up that I felt there would be multiple ones. I've got to look at my bits here to get some of the questions that people asked, and so I think that there's likely to be even more assassination attempts on him now. Trump's going to have other assassination attempts on him, but the Naadi suggests he would survive these. So these were some of the questions that came up. Any that have got an M+ on mean that these are people that are either members or from the YouTube members. So I asked you to submit your questions in advance. We'll come to the live ones in a minute. And so will Trump suffer another assassination after 2 attempts? Will he be hurt or taken out? Now, he was hurt on the first one, because there was also a Nostradamus prediction that people have interpreted as being a possible symbol of assassination attempt. And it talked about him lying on the ground if we accept the interpretation of the Nostradamus interpretation. So perhaps he could be hit again and actually be grounded. But again, it says, the Naadi says he won't be taken out. They won't kill him. So I think that's quite interesting. And I'm sure there's food for thought there. And I'm sure it'll bring you lots of questions you'll have about this in a few minutes. And also perhaps in the comments later, if you all put your comments later on, let's get them collected together. So, and a similar question that came up from one of the supporters of the site too: will Trump actually return to power in the next election, or do you foresee another attempt to prevent it? No, I don't think we're going to get probably another attempt before the actual election. 2 months is a long time. I'm sure there'll be multiple actually attempts. There's probably attempts all the time, but I don't see him hit. I get a feeling he might get a second hit when he's actually in power. But let's hope it doesn't happen for any of the candidates. We don't want any violence in politics, do we? But if I'm correct and he's in power a second term now, I feel that there might be another attempt upon him. Now, I just want to where am I? I'm trying to do it all myself with all this, but there was a couple of other things in the Naadi that I want to just bring up about Trump, and I see what you think about this too. But by luck, he will succeed, as he has the lady's luck. An older and spiritual or political lady will come forward to help him. She is a very powerful lady. Now, those that have followed the channels have known that I've spoken about this a few times. That the Naadi there is saying that somebody, a female, will help him. I've independently felt that too, because I felt, like I've said before, I felt that lady was a lady of color of some sort. So we've speculated about that quite a lot on the show, But it's interesting how the ancient oracle says that, And also notice an older, I didn't know, I've missed this before, actually, an older and spiritual or political. How do we mean by older? Who do we mean by that? So, you might speculate about some of that, but I thought I'd just revisit some of these things because people that have, were in the channel early on some years ago would have heard me talk about these predictions a long way back. And it seems that they could be, they could be in the frame at the moment, because these next 2 months, September and October will come, then November, the election, are going to be absolutely critical. And do you remember also in my recent predictions, I said that there's going to be something really unexpected happen that's going to shake up the whole political what's happening politically and change everything. Well, we did have the second assassination attempt, which I also predicted would happen. But since that, I've said that I think there's something going to be very major and major unexpected. And in that same video, I was also talking about how I felt that there would be a Mossad attack. And I said it on Iran, didn't I? I said, like, the Mossad were going to do something on Iran. Well, actually, and this is the unexpected one, but actually the unexpected happened. Not, I was wrong with Iran. It was on Lebanon, wasn't it? When all the pagers exploded. The Mossad, that was a Mossad trick, the Secret Service in Israel. So maybe that's another one that started to sort of unfurl, but we'll come to Israel again in a minute. But I thought that was interesting. But I say in that I feel that perhaps this is going to have a major effect on the polls in the American elections, because I felt that Biden and with him his vice president, Harris, are going to find themselves struggling because they're going to make some bad decisions, I feel. Just lost my camera, Frank, for a second there, but we're going to make some bad decisions. So could it be that this Israel thing is going to sort of topple things a bit because people are going to get upset because I got the feeling that things are going to start to really escalate there, particularly as we come up to the November. And similarly, I've said before that I feel something might also escalate simultaneously to what's happening in Israel in Taiwan. Because, when America's distracted and they're not able to, they can only put their aircraft carriers in one place. They're focused now on the Middle East. Meanwhile, we've got Putin thinking, here's an opportunity for me now too. He's buying arms off Iran. What's happened there? And there's something been going, there's a deal being made. Has there been a ballistic missile deal made with their technology with Iran and Israel? Sooner or later, that's gonna pop, that's going to explode. And I get a feeling it's coming possibly very soon because of this whole distracted attention that's happening because of what's happening in Israel. So serious issues. So I'm going off on the Israel stuff a bit too soon. I just want to put one more little bit about the Trump stuff still here, because, and this someone asked also about the remedies, those little Indian things I put up a minute ago. Is it the right remedy? Well, it's a different remedy suggested in the Naadi. It says, this is a very delicate matter, and yes, he needs to do all the suggested remedies, and that Nava Chandi Puja and the Mangal Ketu Guru mantra japa through a Brahmin priest too. So it's interesting that the Indian Brahmin priests have started doing something, isn't it? If not performed, then how can we say for sure that all the good and expected predicted events will take place? So basically, the Nadis there were saying that the predictions that Trump would come to power, for example, a second term and things like that, would only happen if the remedies are done. And it looks to me like some of those remedies are being done, but he is supposed to do some too. And I can't see Trump doing Shivaratri mantras or mantras to Shiva. But also, one of the other things, and I see one of the comments that came in earlier, actually, I've started one of them because you asked an interesting question, because you asked, and this is in the live now, Made on the Moon, I saw you in earlier. You said, I'm wondering if he will be directed away from politics and more towards a godly and spiritual place. And this is something that I've talked about as well before, because again, those Naadis suggest that Trump will take on a spiritual life later on, a major spiritual life. And every time he speaks now, he's a person that's obviously trying to appeal to as big an audience as he can. And he's trying to appeal to the religious side of people in America, which is a big voting side. There's a big vote comes from the religious people in America. And he's talking quite a lot about, the man upstairs looked after me sort of thing. He's obviously sees the idea of God, something very different to what the Indian way of God is, that God is within us, without us, and all is God. He sees a bit of a man in the sky type of vision of him, but he has started to take on the other prediction that the Naadi said is that he would become a very big religious figure and would shock the world with this. So the world was certainly shocked. And whether his religious stuff starts to become more and more dominant in his life. And when he went to India, and when he was president and went to India and he met Modi, the Indians came out in masses to greet him, and he seemed to get on tremendously well and was extremely comfortable in India, where most politicians find India, most Westerners actually find India quite an uncomfortable place because it's so different to what they're used to. So that's also, I think, quite important on the Trump side of things, And now let's move on a little bit and also have a think about Israel too, because I've said it's going to disrupt things, and I feel it's going to be disruptive to the American elections. And I've predicted already that I feel Trump is going to be in power. And I know that those who vote Democrat here get upset with me when I say that, but that's what I see. I just do see it. And I feel it's going to be that this what's happening in Israel is going to have a major effect upon it. And some of you were saying, again, in the private sections, saying about, I read the Jerusalem Post, one said to me, and all of your predictions you made, Craig, have happened. And I was about to do one on Israel today, and I actually pulled out by accident, just pure fluke, a list of notes I'd written from my earlier videos about that. And actually, all of this pretty much come about because I said that they would hit Hezbollah, which has happened. I said about the Mossad attack, which has happened. Now, I said other stuff too. There was more details. I said about various other terrorist type attacks and things that I felt were going to come about on hotels and things. I don't know if that's happened in Israel or not. We don't get all the news. But I said stage 2 after this, they're going to hit Yemen. And I feel that's going to happen soon. But what are Israel doing? My thought is that what they're doing is they're softening up their easier targets first. Gaza, let's get rid of Hamas. Lebanon, let's get rid of Hezbollah. Now, once we've softened that lot up and we've kind of broken those two potential invaders, now let's work on Iran. So I think what's going to happen, and this is my feeling, and this is what I said in my predictions earlier, is they're going to expand their borders now. They're going to say, right, we had a buffer state in a buffer zone in Syria with the Golan Heights. Now let's push in and make a bigger buffer zone into Lebanon. Let's expand the borders of Israel a bit, and let's expand in other directions too, because I see Israel pushing. Now, the West Bank is at the moment kind of, it's not ruled by anybody. It's kind of, in a way, it's its own state at the moment. But I'm seeing that now being incorporated as part of Israel itself. I feel that wall coming down, and I'm seeing pushing people out through the West Bank. They're going to push in, and you're going to see Israel getting closer to what its earlier borders were, perhaps at the time of Christianity. Now, I was looking it up, actually, and when you look at the actual original borders of Israel, the first borders of what was the original Israel is very, very, very highly disputed, these things. But if you think about what the Israelis might read, and it's in Exodus, I will set your border from the Red Sea to the sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the Euphrates. Now, the sea of the Philistines, I think that's meant to be the Mediterranean. The Euphrates is a long way away, and the border from the Red Sea, So some people have interpreted that with a map that looks a bit like this. That was Israel. Then pretty much all of the Middle East, Now, it's changed over the years. It's changed over the years with the Ottomans. It's changed over the years with the British Mandate. But the original Jewish Israel was Judea and Samaria, wasn't it? And the two Judean kingdoms. So you've got this vast area. How far do some people want to go to expand Israel? So that was one of my other thoughts, and I feel they're going to expand the borders of Israel quite considerably. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up some of the last questions that came in. I've lost my coffee with Craig. Let's put that back up. We can't have that. There we go. There we are. So when we go back and have a look at some of the questions that come in, because I'm going to come to you guys in a minute, and we'll do some of the other ones. Just pick up some of the other questions. Is there a possible peaceful solution to the problems of the Middle East? I think it's going to escalate, sadly. I don't think Biden can sort it out. I mean, you need a really strong government to go in to sort that out, and need a third party powers going in. And the United Nations and the rest of them, there's like trying to send a committee in. You can't solve anything with the committee. You need a strong leader. I think if Trump does get a second term, as I predicted, and I'm right with it, I think he could sort it out. He got speaking to the Saudi Arabians, didn't he? And my feeling is he'll do something like that again. It won't be sorted out until Trump's back in power. And that is one of the things that's going to be a big argument, I feel, in American politics at the moment. Will this war end decisively in Israel's favor, not unlike 1948 and 1967 conflicts? That's another good point there. I think it will end in Israel's favor. I think Israel's going to push its borders out. But when it comes to the hit on Iran, which will come up, that might not come up for some time, actually. Although this is the critical time now, I think they're softening things up. And Netanyahu wants to follow the bigger agenda, like that Exodus one, not quite that scale, but he wants to expand Israel. He wants his enemies out of the way forever. He wants to soften them to the point that they can't fight him anymore. And I feel they'll have to hit the Iranian nuclear facility sooner and later, because a deal has been done with Putin. I feel Putin has given them technology. Putin has also given technology to North Korea. I mean, they've given him stuff. We want something back, don't we? So my gut feeling is that he's given them something. He's given them guidance systems, or he's given them missile technology, or he's given them extra atomic secrets of some sort to help them complete their threat to the West. So we've got just Russia against us, but we've also got Iran and North Korea as serious contenders on the world stage militarily. So that's one of the other thoughts. And this was another. Will the hardline pro-Islamic populations be expelled to other parts of the Arab world? Now, I can't see them being pushed into Egypt. That would be likely if you've taken on Hamas and then you kind of want to start to make this Israel again, because that's the way I feel it's going to eventually go. Egypt won't take them. Most Arab states will not take the refugees, but Jordan might be different. And I get a feeling I'm seeing refugees flooding into Jordan, which is completely not on the scale at the moment. Nothing's happening with Jordan at the moment with war-wise, but I'm seeing people flooding into Jordan, and Jordan taking on refugees. So if I'm seeing that, what's happening in the West Bank, is something happening there. What's happening in Lebanon are people being pushed out of territories there. So that's my thoughts of the way things are going to go up. there. And also, this was, I thought, very in line with what I'm thinking. Actually, another one of the patrons or the I can't remember if it was a patron or a YouTube follower, but will Israel end up annexing most territories to ensure the Islamists can no longer influence or intimidate the local population? That is the actual essence of it there. Actually, the essence of it, because that's the idea. They're trying to neutralize the threats. They're doing it a step at a time. We're going to see it we've seen it in Gaza, we've seen it in Lebanon, we'll see more of it happening in Yemen, and we'll eventually see it in Iran, and it'll get to a real boiling point, and then we'll start to make a deal. And I feel that deal will be done much later on, and it will be done into 2025, possibly into 2026. These things don't get solved quickly. We're going to have a rocky year in 2025, but I feel that one of the main people that's going to be dealing with that is going to be Trump. Okay, so let's have a look and see what comments are coming in from you guys now. So I'm going to move on now in a moment now to have a look at your comments, okay? And then you can ask me your questions, and we'll see what comes up and see what outside I think about these things. But first and foremost, I'm going to just have a little break to have a look at them, right? So I'm just going to put a short little advert up for you guys, so that while I'm doing that, I can just quickly have a look at your thing. Now, this is about the Naadis, actually. Where's my advert gone? Where's it gone? Bear with me. You see, when you do it all yourself, it's quite difficult sometimes. There we go. And yeah, so I should have it prepared, shouldn't I, really? But it's always quite difficult. Yeah, I'll just put a little advert up about the Naadi readings. If you're interested in those, have a look in the description below. And you can you might better book your own if you want to. Okay, let's just, there we go. Well, I'm pleased to say that I'm now able to offer Naadi readings on my website. And if you've ever had worries, been uncertain about the path you're going in life, if you've been kind of seeking answers to things and you want to know the answer to where you're going and what the spiritual message for your life is, well, I'm pleased to say you can get them on my website now, psychics.co.uk. So Naadi readings are a very ancient Indian form of divination. They provide precise details about your past, about your present, about your future, your direction in life. And with their accuracy, and they're very, very specific, with their accuracy, Naadi readings can help countless people find clarity and the direction they're going in life. It brings a bit of meaning and purpose. You can see why you're here and where you should be going. Anyway, the process begins with the Naadi reader. You'll find your leaf. It's all explained when you go through the process of booking a Naadi. But once your leaf is found, the Naadi reader will channel information about your life's journey. And each leaf is absolutely specific to you. It's been sat there for centuries waiting for you. And it contains very, very particular information about your life and nobody else's. So during your Naadi reading, the reader will give you information about detailed insights into your life, tell you about your strengths, tell you about your weaknesses, it'll give you any potential obstacles that are in the way, and importantly, help you to clear your karma so you can make the path ahead clear. There's remedies, as we call it. And these also give you guidance on how to navigate and face the challenges of your life and give you predictions based on the current trajectory of your life at the moment. That's the way things stand. And at the end of the reading, you'll be given a recording of the session, and then you can listen to it again and again. And it will give you all sorts of insights years into the future that you may not have initially picked up at the time as well. So Naadi readings really do have the power to change lives. If you saw my video on my film, rather, on Amazon Prime, called Mystic Journey to India, you'll see the whole story of the incredible story that I experienced because of the Naadis. And you'll also see on that same video my journeys through India, my meeting with holy men, and I write about it in my book Messages from the Universe too. So the Naadis are, well, certainly for me, were an astonishing experience, and I'm offering them now to you guys, and you can book them if you have a look on the description below of this video, or I'll put it up on the screen now, my website, psychics.co.uk. It's a UK address, remember. So go and have a look, mention my name when you book the reading, and you'll get the best service. And thank you very much. And I do hope and wish for you a really happy journey. This could be the beginning of something very important for you. Okay, thank you. See you soon. Bye for now. Ah, there we go. Cool. That's a bit of a blip on the system there. So I'm the technician as well as the psychic and the presenter and everything. So yeah, one man band. So okay, thanks guys for some of your comments. I was having a quick look at some of them while we have starred a few, so I can put a few of those comments up. First and foremost, I don't want really, people do get very political on this channel sometimes, obviously because I mention about Trump and I've made the predictions about Trump and what I feel. But I think it's always important to put both sides of the argument up with these things. So like you're saying here, for example, Craig, fool, Trump hangs with all the murderous dictators. Keep saying good things about him. Looks like you watch a fascist dictatorship in the US. Want a fascist dictatorship. You see, these are a bit extremist ideas, really, when you say that. Just because I predict something doesn't mean that necessarily I'm a fan of it. I'm the UK, so it don't make any difference to me one way or the other, although I think it's important for the world stage of what happens. And then also, you know, people also saying this, well, the sickness of Trump supporters, not unlike Nazi brown shirts, please move to Moscow. So it does seem to point to me that both, and also there was a bit negative ones about Democrats on there as well. So this extremist view is so dangerous, isn't it, really? You know, but we have to go one side or the other. And I do hope that for the future, we don't get these same things in the world stage, because it's happening all over the world, the divisions that come. So let's get just a couple of your questions here. Again, a little bit dodgy with the way you've worded this question, Monica. Will people wake up about the dangers about Islam? I feel it's dangerous times. I don't think any religion in the world is necessarily dangerous. I mean, we get exactly the same dangers in every religion. And that's, you've got extremism in India with Modi's lot sometimes. You get extremism with Christianity too, don't you? That believes, you know, like I'm a pariah to many Christians because they say, oh, you mustn't prophesy and things and so on. So you're seen as you're seen as an enemy. And the reason that happens is because the danger, I think, with religious questions like this, isn't it, is that people say only my view is right. And it's exactly the same with the politics that we're seeing, like the comments I was highlighted. You know, I don't mean to sort of go for you guys that put those comments. I'm glad you put opposite views, but it's the same in politics. It's only my view is right. You know, only Trump is right. Only Harris is right. Only Keir Starmer is right, or whatever. You know, it's because we say, unless you agree with what I say, I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to throw you out. And it's happening in politics. It's happening in religion as well. And that's where the danger comes from Islam, because they say only our view is right and all the rest of you are infidels. And I'm sure that's 99.9% of Muslims that are out there, and certainly all the ones I've met haven't got that view. You know, that's kind of an extremist view. So the danger is not Islam. The danger is in all of it, actually, all of it, in all our views, where we seem to say it's us and them. Us and them. It's happening in Israel. It's us and them. You see, it's happening in our politics here, where we've got division now between left and right, very strong. And we got the same in Europe you know, unfortunately, it is a danger, because the danger is that when we get that us and them, it usually results in wars. And I think for the future, this could result in civil wars, because no matter how many people speak out about the importance of finding a common denominator, of trying to find unity within our diversity, no matter how much we speak out about those type of things, few people listen. And I think a lot of it's to do, don't you think about this perhaps, that a lot of it is to do with the nature of news, because I'm talking here and giving thoughts and opinions and things, but the modern day news is always about opinions, isn't it? It's not just about reporting news. And you know, it's what you report and what you don't report is important and skewers the news. And we got our news skewered because they say, you know, here's a fact, here's 3 people for, here's 3 people against, let's fight about it. And the problem is it pushes division very often, the way it's done nowadays, because it wants the sensationalism of grabbing the headlines. It always has been that way, but it's so much more immediate nowadays. And it as events are taking place, the people are arguing, and this is where I think we get problems like this. Again, someone's asked here, and there was quite a few questions, people asking about Keir Starmer and being kicked out of office. Will he be kicked out of office? They can't force a general election, I don't think, for 5 years. I don't think we can do that. I think the way things are written is that's what you voted for. You got the 5 years, and if you kicked Keir Starmer out, then another one would come into play. I think he will be kicked out, though. I don't think Keir Starmer is going to make the full term of the 5 years by any means. And I feel a woman's going to come into power. There'll be a female leader of the Labour Party, and a female prime minister is going to take over from Keir Starmer. But I'm going to do a bit more on that as a full video later on, because it's obviously a topic that here in the UK that is becoming very, very important. See, still... I'll go both sides. So both sides for people, you know, what's your view? You know, what's your view of politics at the moment? Please put a comment afterwards. I'd really like to sort of get, you know, a feel of the audience that's watching this. You know, I've obviously talked about Trump a lot because of these Indian Naadis. Someone's just said there, I see, the link isn't working for the Naadi readings. Yeah, I have some problems on my website at the moment that they're trying to sort out. It's a page loading problem. So the link is correct, but I think you keep getting you might be getting a difficult message. Same for booking me for readings and things. There's a few problems there. Hopefully we'll sort it shortly. But do always come and have a look again. And just basically, if you want to do a Naadi, email me or private message me on the patrons pages if you want to do that as well. Okay, let's just any more. I would like some more questions sort of thing. Mainly you making comments. So it looks like I'm probably going to. See, now that's a dodgy thing, actually, Monica. Israel's fight against the devil in a way. You know, we all turn our enemies into devils, don't we? And even in real life, we do that. And we often make a mistake because we blind ourselves. And I think this is the danger. You know, I think one of the biggest dangers in the world, one of probably the hardest and the most difficult thing to crack with human beings is this danger of belief. You know, I mean, they say that anybody that does all the spiritual stuff is kind of stuck in beliefs because, you know, it can't be proven. I think with what we do with mediumship, we can prove it, because the idea is that we try to give evidence and proof of life after death, for example. And by doing that, we give some form of proof. So it's not just a belief, we give them some proof. Maybe not quite the empirical proof that science would like, but certainly the sort of proof that might stand up in a court of law, for example, where human testimony comes in and is valuable. You can hang a person on the basis of human testimony. So in a way, those are the kind of the criteria, in a way, that we give proof. But beliefs get dangerous, don't they? This is where I actually stand with people like Richard Dawkins, who says, look, just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. And that's important to think like that as well. Although internal stuff and human experience is a little bit harder to fit into that mold. But certainly beliefs are very dangerous in the world when you think about it. It's because we stand by our beliefs, you know, whether that be make America great again belief, you know, or whether it be whatever political belief you have in every country, you know, those are wrong. You've got to look at, in politics, for example, you've got to look at the policies. Nobody bothers with that. They look at the personalities here in the UK, happening in Europe too. Very dangerous, because that feeds into this kind of belief idea. You know, it's more emotionally charged rather than intellectually charged. So this is where we're going wrong, I think. And beliefs in religion are dangerous too. We can't just believe. We have to experience. We have to find out for ourselves. And this is why I often come back to the idea, think for yourself. You know, be your own master in many ways, and be a person that is prepared to take personal responsibility for all the trouble that come in our life, you know. So that way we go through safely, we become our own master, and we trust our own experience. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it for you today, guys, and going to say thank you all for being part of the site today and being part of the this channel and putting your comments. Don't forget those thumbs up. And I won't leave with an advert. I'm going to leave with our cat Boo. Let's have a little shot of Boo before we leave. Wrong one. That one. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm now going to conclude the show by just doing catching up with a little bit of ironing for Jane. So do please join us again and follow this channel, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now. See you soon. Better? Obviously, disclaimer. Don't try that at home. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us again. See you soon. Bye.